Today we're going to change a front wheel bearing in a Mk5 Mondeo. Whoa, 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 rewind. How do we know it's a front one? Taking into consideration I've got a note in the car telling me it's a rear one. I kind of figured if I was walking around with my head up my ass, then I too would have diagnosed a rear bearing. So here's my wheel bearing diagnosis. Driving along in a straight line, I have a droning noise which sounds to me from the front of the vehicle. If I steer the car slightly to the right, the droning noise is still there because I'm putting load on the passenger front wheel bearing. And when I steer to the left, the noise is gone because I'm taking the load off the passenger front wheel bearing. That tells me the passenger front wheel bearing is bollocksed. So I guess I better go out into the workshop and go and fit a new wheel bearing in our Mk5 Ford Potato. Olé! So here we are, one Mk5 Ford Potato. Let me just put some protection on before I start. Right, I suppose I better take the wheel off. If your drive shaft threads are a bit rusty, give them a quick clean up with a wire brush and spray a bit of Freon on the threads. Then you can whack this bolt out. It's a 32mm nut. 10mm bolt that's holding your brake flexible hose to the shock absorber strut. It'd be best to remove that. And there's two 18mm bolts holding your entire brake caliper and carrier assembly to your hub that need to come out. I've cable tied the caliper onto the spring so it's out of the way. And then obviously remove your brake disc. There's an 18mm nut on your bottom ball joint bolt. So we'll give the threads a quick clean with a wire brush and put some Freon oil on them threads, and we'll whack that bottom ball joint nut off. And pull the bolt out. Unclip our ABS sensor from our shock absorber strut and unbolt our ABS sensor, and then we'll just pull our ABS wire out and move it out of the way. Any threads that are showing, give them a bit of a clean up with a wire brush, spray the threads with oil, and the same goes for our threads on our track rod end. And we'll give this a little bit of a tap just to release the taper. Right, and now we'll whack out our two 24mm shock absorber bolts. These bolts are on a bit of a spline through the hub, so we'll have to hammer them out. With both them bolts out, our hub will now separate from the shock absorber. And at this point we can now pin punch our drive shaft through our hub. Pull the drive shaft clean out of our hub. And now you can lift your hub clean off the bottom arm ball joint. Right, I seriously suggest cleaning up the threads on the four wheel bearing bolts and then give them all a spray with some Freon oil. These four 15mm bolts, generally speaking, are pretty tight, so a good air gun helps. Just 1 minute. Flipping air gun's making me deaf. And that's it. It comes straight off. One wheel bearing. Scrap. Think we should do a Mondeo wheel bearing unboxing? No, I bloody don't. And just so you can see this wheel bearing a little bit closer, because at the moment it's nice and shiny. It won't be shiny for long, but there you go. That's what you get for your buck. Right, I better put it back together then. There you go. And I'm just going to put a bit of Freon oil on our bolts so they go in a bit easier. Get them all started on the threads first before you tighten them up properly. Now we can whack them all back down. Nice and tight. One wheel bearing, bingo. Right then, we'll just stick our hub back onto our bottom arm, whack the bolt through, stick the nut on, and we'll whack the nut back up. Now we'll stick our drive shaft back into the wheel bearing hub and make sure that's gone on the splines. Push our hub back into our shock absorber and bang our bolts back into our shock absorber strut. Make sure you get both bolts in first. Stick the two nuts on, give them a spray of some freon oil and whack them up. Refit your steering arm back on. If it spins, you may have to put a bar underneath to support it. And we'll whack this back up now. Stick the old ABS sensor back in. And don't forget to clip the wire back into your shock absorber. Whack your hub nut on, give it a spray. Nice and tight. Bang the old brake disc back on, unclip your brake caliper and stick that back on. Two 18mm bolts will hold that in, and whack your carrier bolts back up. And attach your brake hose back onto the shock absorber strut. Bingo! Happy days! So that's it then. There's only one thing left to do. I'm going to put this wheel bearing where it belongs, in the Mk5 Ford Mondeo scrap pile. See ya!